The promise is realized. The Lord visited Sarah just as he had said he would, and did for Sarah what he had promised. So Sarah became pregnant and bore Abraham a son in his old age at the appointed time that God had told him. It took a lot longer than Abraham wanted, but it happened. Abraham named his son, whom Sarah bore to him, Isaac, Yitzhak. Back in chapter 17, God promised that the promised seed would come through Sarai, and that made Abraham fall down laughing. So right after that, God said, "Your wife Sarah will bear you a son, and you will call him Isaac." Why Isaac? In Hebrew, Isaac means he laughs. You want to laugh at the promise of God? Okay, you're going to live with that memory. When his son Isaac was 8 days old, Abraham circumcised him just as God had commanded him to do. That was also back in chapter 17. Abraham continues to obey. Now Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born to him. Then, check this out. Sarah said, "God has brought me laughter. Everyone who hears about this will laugh with me." She went on to say, "Who would have said to Abraham that Sarah would nurse children? Yet I have given birth to a son for him in his old age." Who would have said? God would have said, and he did say, because what God does is unthinkable. It's better than what we can dream on our own. The child grew and was weaned. Abraham prepared a great feast on the day that Isaac was weaned. So, let's catch up with the timeline. Chapter 16 told us that Abraham was 86 years old when Hagar gave birth to Ishmael. Then chapter 21 told us that Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born to him. So that would mean Ishmael was 14 when Isaac was born. But then we have to give it 2 to 4 years for Isaac to be weaned, and that makes Ishmael at least 16 years old in this story, maybe older. But Sarah noticed the son of Hagar the Egyptian, Ishmael, the son whom Hagar had borne to Abraham, mocking or laughing. In English, you can be laughing with someone or laughing at someone, and the Hebrew word is similar. Ishmael might have been playing with Isaac as an equal or even as a rival, and that could threaten Sarai. Or maybe he was mocking, insulting, teasing Isaac in some way. So she said to Abraham, "Banish that slave woman and her son, for the son of that slave woman will not be an heir along with my son Isaac." Now Ishmael probably would have had a legal right to Abraham's inheritance, but Sarah's thinking was clouded by anger and jealousy. And once again, she treats Hagar with contempt. Sarah's demand displeased Abraham greatly because Ishmael was his son. But God said to Abraham, "Don't be upset about the boy or your slave wife. Do all that Sarah is telling you, because through Isaac your descendants will be counted. But I will also make the son of the slave wife into a great nation, for he is your descendant too." God promises that he will protect and provide for them, even away from Abraham's household. Early in the morning, Abraham took some food and a skin of water and gave them to Hagar. He put them on her shoulders, gave her the child, and sent her away. Now, Hagar could walk off stage and we could get back to the Abraham story. But for some reason, like in chapter 16, the narrator wants us to keep going back to this abused immigrant woman cast out into the wilderness. So she went wandering aimlessly through the wilderness of Beer-sheba. Well, when the water in the skin was gone, she shoved the child under one of the shrubs. Now this is really weird. Ishmael's at least 16 years old at this point. When I was 16, I was solo camping, building fires, and navigating the woods. Is this a lapse in chronology? If not, the only thing I can think of is maybe he had given his mom all the water first and then he collapsed from heat exhaustion. But then again, Abraham was rich. Maybe the servants did everything for him and Ishmael never developed practical skills or coping strategies. In any case, they're vulnerable and in legitimate danger. Then she went and sat down by herself across from him at quite a distance, about a bow shot away. Last time we saw a bow was when God placed one in the sky to remember the covenant between God and all living creatures of all kinds that are on the earth. Is that the reason for this detail? For she thought, "I refuse to watch the child die." So she sat across from him and wept uncontrollably. Apparently, Hagar has had enough water. She's not on death's doorstep, but Ishmael is. But God heard the boy's voice. The angel of God called to Hagar from heaven and asked her, "What is the matter, Hagar? Don't be afraid, for God has heard the boy's voice right where he is crying. Get up, help the boy up, and hold him by the hand, for I will make him into a great nation." Then God enabled Hagar to see a well of water. God's provision was there all along. Sometimes he does things in miraculous ways, but sometimes we simply need to look around and see what he's made available to us. She went over and filled the skin with water and then gave the boy a drink. She filled the skin. Not only was there water, there was abundant water. And like God, she gives out of her abundance. God was with the boy as he grew. He lived in the wilderness and became an archer. Interesting detail, he used a bow. He lived in the wilderness of Paran. It tells us twice that he lived in the wilderness, but God was with him and provided for this wild donkey of a man. His mother found a wife for him from the land of Egypt, so his seed will continue on as well. Okay, so now we focus back on Abraham, and we see Abimelech and Phicol.
Actually, can you just call me Phil? I really don't like my name.
We saw that Abimelech is probably a title for this ruler, and Phicol might also be a title.
Again, I would prefer it if you just called me Phil.
At that time, Abimelech and Phicol...
I know you keep saying my name to be funny, but I really don't appreciate your sense of humor.
Wait, is your name really
Phicol?
Yeah, laugh it up.
The commander of his army said to Abraham, God is with you in all that you do. Now swear to me right here in God's name that you will not deceive me, my children, or my descendants. Interesting tension. God is with you, so don't lie. Last time you lied about Sarah, Abimelech almost died. He says, show me in the land where you are staying the same loyalty that I have shown you. Abraham said,
I swear to do this.
But Abraham lodged a complaint against Abimelech concerning a well that Abimelech's servants had seized. It's interesting that God showed Hagar a well of abundant water that she could freely take from, and yet Abraham is going to have to negotiate.
Well. He said well because everybody gets the joke.
He's like, you want me to be honest with you, but your guys are over here taking over the well in the land you gave to me. I do not know who has done this thing, Abimelech replied. Moreover, you did not tell me. I did not hear about it until today. Abraham took some sheep and cattle and gave them to Abimelech. The two of them made a treaty, or a covenant. It's the same word we've been seeing all along. Abraham set 7 ewe lambs apart from the flock by themselves. Abimelech asked Abraham, what is the meaning of these 7 ewe lambs that you have set apart? Abimelech assumes that the number 7 has some kind of significance. He replied,
You must take these 7 ewe lambs from my hand as legal proof that I dug this well.
He gives something of value to publicly demonstrate his honesty. That is why he named that place Be'er-sheba, because the two of them swore an oath there. So peace is made at the well of 7. There's a complete rest. So they made a treaty at Be'er-sheba. Then Abimelech and Phicol, the commander of his army, returned to the land of the Philistines. Abraham planted a tamarisk tree in Be'er-sheba. The tree is probably a testament to God's grace and provision, and together with the water imagery, it takes us back to Eden, where there was peace with God and humanity. God rested as king, and there was harmony between humans and creation. There he worshipped the Lord, the eternal God. So Abraham stayed in the land of the Philistines for quite some time.